business, biceps, a little BS. Fitness mixed with finance, now you're really gonna see us as we're learning, growing. All your minds we're blowing, earning while we're burning. Shirts are tight, so games are showing. Resolve, evolve, absolve, it's time to make a move. Better check yourself, cause if you're doubting, no, we got the proof. Voices speaking loud, cause we're proud about what we can do. Tickling your ears with CPE, rooted in the truth.
In the wildwood of accounting, we all know garbage data in means garbage data out. The same thing applies to your body. As a C-suite guy who obviously lifts, I want to be just as sharp in the boardroom as I am in the weight room. I don't have time for guesswork supplements or flashy nonsense, and that's why I use Redcon One. Clean ingredients, real formulas, stuff that actually works when you're training at 5 a.m. at the gym or burning midnight oil in your month-end grind. So whether you're an accounting bro, finance bro, or business leader in an NGO, if you want more energy, better recovery, and fewer excuses, this is your sign. Head to redcon1.com and use promo code BIZBUYSANDBS for 20% off. Don't just audit your numbers, audit your nutrition by leaning into America's favorite supplements at Redcon One. Yeah. So Dan Irvine, the principal and founder of 3 Summit Investment Management. Did I get that right?
That's right. Yep.
And so we're obviously you're going to tell me what these 3 summits are, but we are talking today about personal finance world, possibly get into investments. We'll see where the rabbit trails go. But I'm really interested. We had a phone call about a month ago where it was just I think was it through serendipity?
Serendipity.
Okay. And it was such a wonderful conversation. And we're like, hey, we should do this for everybody to listen to, because I came off that phone call just energized that there are people in the world of investment management who actually believe that the people sitting across the table really do have the tools and the resources. They just need a little bit of guidance. So tell me a little bit about 3 summits, how you got to this point in your life. A lot of times, just to give you an idea, a lot of the people that listen to this show are students, and they're looking to how did that person get to where they are today? Because I want to emulate that individual. So just tell me your story, Dan.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's a bit of a circuitous path. So I actually started out as an econ major at the University of Colorado, and saw a business opportunity with a friend. These were during the internet days, late 90s. And we were looking to start a business, and the internet was really coming online at that point. And we saw an opportunity to create a firm. It was one of the first companies that did this, where we created a website that allowed people who didn't know how to create websites to create a website and get a presence on the internet.
Awesome.
So it's like the Squarespace now. So during that process, I had to learn how to code computers.
Okay.
You need courses in that. And that eventually led to doing a lot of consulting work for internet companies, because the technology that we had used was brand new and there was very few people that knew it. And so I was working with companies helping them develop out their platforms. And that turned into going into a finance area, going to a hedge fund, and starting to work on quantitative strategies using computers to find investment opportunities.
Cool.
So that's how I ended up in the business. 3 summits, you asked about that.
Uh-huh.
3 investment management. I grew up in Colorado. I have a passion for the mountains and basically anything outdoors. 3 Summit is 3 14ers in Colorado. They're Lincoln, Democrat, and Bros. They're 3 14ers that you can summit all in one day. It's a long day, but you can summit all in one day. It's an area that's meaningful to me.
Well, you use that word 14er. What's a 14er?
14,000-foot mountain. Yeah. So there's about 50 of them in Colorado. And there's 3 large peaks that you can summit all in a single day. So it plays on that and just where I'm from and what's important to me. But it also I think mountain climbing, anything like that, physical challenges, it's very representative of how I approach things in business as well. So
how's your grip strength?
reaching the summit, doing things better, differently than other people.
So how's your grip strength? Pretty awesome.
Well, today or 10 years ago?
do you just hang off ledges just to prove you can?
Well, so this is funny. Every year I've got 2 young boys, and every year my family, we sit around about this time of year and we make a physical goal for the next year and something outside of physical, like school or anything else in life. But the one important one is physical goal. And so I had been trying to do the monkey bars with my son and realized just how heavy I'd gotten and how weak my grip strength had gotten. Just feeling it in my shoulders, and it just didn't remind me when I used to do the monkey bars when I was a kid. I was like, wow, I can barely hold myself like hanging. So my goal last year was 4 proper, wide out pull-ups by the end. So I did 5. I got to 5. I can do 5 straight, like proper wide out pull-ups.
All the way down? All the way down?
All the way down and all the way up, wide
Good for
out.
You.
So anyway, so that's funny. So my grip strength is better than it was a year ago. But
so the bar, is it the straight bar or the one that has the little curve in the end?
Little curve on the end, yep, and all the way out, yep.
So I always think about like there was a movie with Sylvester Stallone in it called Cliffhanger. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Okay, did I get the title right? It was a cliffhanger?
That's right.
Okay, so I always remember him. He's going across. In fact, I think the Ace Ventura: Pet Detective did a parody off of it. But he's going across that cable. There's 2 mountains. He's going across the cable, and he's sliding. He's holding on to somebody, and it's like I'm not going to let him go. And eventually he has to let him go because his grip strength weakens, and so that person falls down in the ravine. Whatever happens to him, right?
Yep.
And I think that Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey had a raccoon. He was holding the raccoon. You saw the raccoon's fingers go lonk, 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 and then finally, there's no. So, but I always think about that whenever I'm doing like pull-ups or things that have like takes like real strength. Like if I were out in the woods and this was like a survival thing, would I be able to get up that wall? Because can I muscle myself up and throw a leg over, right? Or the pull-up thing, like if I have to pull up myself up a branch of a tree because there's something chasing me, am I going to be able to get up and do it? So but for some reason that always gets stuck in my head, especially when I do pull-ups. I always think of that Sylvester Stallone where he's like, no, hold on, and it's just like So I don't know if that helps you stay on that pull-up bar a little bit longer. Get that 6th one, get that 7th one. Don't drop the kid. Try to do it with 1, and pretend like your kid is like, no.
So how many pull-ups can you do? What's your count?
Wide grip?
Yeah.
Okay, the most I've gotten in one run is 19.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this, just to make myself feel worse about myself. So we were doing the Marine Challenge. When the Marines come out, they bring their pull-up bar, and usually when I do pull-ups, I actually like the wide grip better because at my wrists, I don't really like having it too far in, and you're not allowed to do chin-ups, right? This is actually a pull-up, right? So so. I got up, I got 19, I was 19 and a half, I was trying to get that 20th because I wanted the t-shirt. The t-shirt said pain, what is it? Oh gosh, I'm gonna fear, oh no, pain is fear leaving the body. That's what it says. So I was like, I want that t-shirt so bad. My son comes up, who is now 6'3" and just like an albatross of a human, he comes up and he rips out 20, he gets the shirt. He goes, hey, Dad, you can have my shirt. I was like, get that shirt out of here. I didn't earn that shirt.
Yeah, I didn't earn it.
Every time I wear it, I know exactly what's going to happen. It's like, Dad, you didn't get that shirt. You got 19 and a half. Like, forget it. I don't want that damn shirt.
That is great. I love it.
So, yeah, but I incorporate. So when I do chest day, I like to push and pull. So I'll make sure that if I'm doing an incline set, I'll do a couple sets, and then I'll jump over to the bar and just rep out like 8 to 10. And just like, look, knees hanging down all the way down, right? I've also taken some tips from an IFBB pro who is at my gym. I fully believe that you should work out at gyms where there are people that are bigger than you, that know how to do this, that they have that little muscle.
It can push you along.
They had that little muscle on their back that you're like, how did you get that? You know, it's like, oh, well, you got to do this, but he taught me a way to do pull-ups that will actually strengthen those smaller muscles so that you can do more pull-ups. And so I was like, this is cool. I like it.
That's what I need. That's what I need. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll send you a workout regimen. You'll be good.
Good.
No,
good.
So I'm really interested. So you, as a day job, you are in investment strategies, but you do a lot more than just investments. So explain for the listening audience, all 7 of us, what exactly do you do on a day-to-day basis, and how does that play into your overarching, not just professional goals, but personal goals?
Yeah, well, what I do on a day-to-day basis is I manage other people and institutions' money. So that involves investing in the markets, and I consider that my primary focus. Gaining advantage and growing people's assets efficiently and well. You know, it's different than just, you know, buying and holding securities. So that I spend most of my time on that. I find the business very, very interesting because it's like a board game with no end, right? There is definitely ways to gain advantage, but the game is constantly changing. So that's why it takes so much of my time. Investing, I mean, depending on how you're investing and what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve, you know, is not just a generally speaking, a set it and forget it type activity. So
it's not necessarily just personal finance; it's corporate finance as well.
That's right. Yes, okay. And then we work with clients on a number of things. So we consider ourselves on retainer for our clients. So we work with a big cohort of our clientele are business owners. Okay. So we're not only working on aligning their finances and their business with their business goals, but also their personal finances.
Perfect.
And that's a huge thing. And, you know, I really caught on to that when I was in school. I had a professor, I took a entrepreneurship in computing class. Okay. And he was a CEO of a firm that's now gone. It was called Storage Tech. And what they did was they were you ever see those robots that would go and grab?
Yeah.
And so that company was the one that kind of revolutionized tape backup, you know, before the cloud. So
cool.
But anyway, what he had always said was one of the things that he focused on a lot in that course was it didn't have anything to do with business, so to speak, or business decision making or how to start a business. It had to do with personal finance. That your ability to execute on something that you want to do at the end of the day is going to come down to your personal finances. You have to have the flexibility and the capability to pursue what you want to pursue. And the only way to do that is you can't be living paycheck to paycheck and then forego a paycheck so you can try to start a company and dump resources into that effort. So anything that you want to pursue, whether it's business or not, almost always requires some level of financial flexibility, and that's not something that can be gained overnight. It has to be something that you live with, and it becomes basically a ritual to you.
It's a accumulation of resources.
Accumulation of resources. A lot of people get it, right? I mean, people have dreams, and there's things that they want to pursue, but they don't have the financial resources. You know, they say, as soon as I have this, or as soon as I'm able to afford to quit my job and go without a paycheck, it takes a lot of the challenge. It lowers the bar for what's required for you to pursue what you want to pursue.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I was, as you were saying that, I was thinking of a nugget of wisdom that a woman had given me when I was at a small regional CPA firm. I had already been at PwC for a couple of years, went to Deloitte. I was in a local firm in the Tallahassee area, and I remember talking to her. We were just talking about just personal finance and really just salaries, right? And she goes, Tim, one of the things you need to make sure of. She had like maybe 15, 20 years in front of me, right? So she was sharing what her knowledge was, from, especially from she was a director of tax and like personal tax and what have you at like the Big Four. So she really knew what she was doing. And she said, it's not about the salary that you make, it's about how long you've made that salary. And she said, so you being able to handle your bills in like in any given year, that's a function of your salary for this year. You being able to do what you want to do in the future, the financial freedom you want in the future, that's what's called wealth. And that's the ability to build that wealth. You have to build it over time. So sure, you could feel like you get a raise, that extra $5,000, extra $10,000. Takes a little bit of the edge off of some of those utility bills, maybe that Netflix bill. Maybe you get to go out to eat every once in a while that you didn't do before. But if you stay inside the principles that you learned when you were making the small amount of dollars, and we're still able to live, right? Little things here and there just to kind of liven things up. And you start making more money, and you start having people like yourself, Dan, guiding you through these processes, then yeah, 10, 15, 20 years from now, you can actually, if you really wanted to start your own business and you didn't want investors, you didn't want to go to a bank, you didn't want to take a home equity loan to do it, you can be positioned to do that. So what I see from the standpoint, I see this all with the banana ball players all the time. These banana ball players are doing Jesse Cole has just blessed them in the sense that these guys in a Major League Baseball AAA environment, they already making anywhere between $35,000 to $38,000 a year. Like, and this is straight out of school, right? If they get brought up to single A, double A, AAA is probably about, I think it's 38.5 is the minimum, and they get health care, what have you. Jesse Cole has decided that these guys need to make healthy salaries, like living wages, especially for guys that are on the road all the time, right? And so because of that, over the past few years, I've seen the salaries for these players grow, and it's been significant. Year after year after year, they get popped up, and so on average, these guys are making really good money. Forget about the endorsement deals and the branding deals and all this other stuff that's coming to them just because they're social media icons now, but their base salaries are now to the point where I'm having players come to me across the street, come visit me in finance, and shoot me a text message, hey, Naddy, can I talk? I've got a few minutes to talk. And it's always the same question. It's like, hey, listen, I'm making money now. Where do I put it? Like, what do I do with it? Like, they're at least thinking, like, entrepreneurial wise, they're looking around saying, hey, I can do a business, I can do this, or someone's got a storage unit, someone's got a restaurant, someone's got a bar, all these different things, right? And in the locker room, people are like, oh, you should do this, you should do this. And they're like, no. Everybody out. I just want to know, you, Naddy, what should I do with this money? Of course, I look at it from the standpoint, like, this kid could be my son, right? So I'm gonna try to guide him in the proper way. Also, I know that he may have a longtime girlfriend, or he just got married, or his wife might be pregnant. It's like there are things we have to consider now. And so so what you're saying is, and that's how you, the corporate side, like the professional and the personal, and making sure that those goals align. It's so wise. And I know people like you are always out there saying things like this, but when you actually go out and are doing it, what would you say is the biggest compliment one of your clients could give you?
Well, that's a good question. I think one of the biggest compliments may not even sound like a compliment. It's, I didn't see it. I hadn't seen it like that. I hadn't thought about it like that.
That's fair.
That is a big compliment, because that is what I'm here to do. That's what I view my role. My role in my client relationship is to help people identify and think about things in the way that is not in their framework. The way that their way, and keep in mind that people can only focus on so many things. Right. So when you're starting a business, you're 100% focused on, or running a business, or even working for a company, right? You're 100%, 90% of your time goes into performing the job that is required to move things along. And whether that's even if you work for somebody, right? If you're a high performing employee, you're spending almost all of your energy focusing on doing a good job and performing at a high level. And then you have family and everything else. It doesn't leave a lot of time, and especially if it's not a core interest of yours, to be thinking about the different things, different financial elements of your life that could either provide a tailwind for you or better ways to structure things. And as time goes on, needs change, right? So when you're younger and you're starting a career, your focus should be on asset accumulation to have that flexibility to do what you want to do. One, if you're running a business and you own a business, now you have almost all of your net worth tied up in the success of an illiquid asset. And you need to be thinking about your other financial risks and how, assuming things go in different directions, where does that leave you personally, financially, and how can you offset risks? So how can you invest money or do things in a way that is somewhat uncorrelated to your core business or what you do? So, the what you need financially changes as you move through life.
So I'm curious, we had talked earlier, you were working on a project that I think you might be finished with, or you're close to being finished
Yeah,
with?
getting close.
Are you willing to share about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about this project of yours and what it's going to do for not just 3 Summit, but also for yourself personally and professionally, what have you.
Well, I'm in the process of writing a book and trying to change a little bit about how professional services business works and how different groups of professional service people, like accountants and investment managers and estate attorneys, view each other and work with each other. There's a lot of changes going on, and this was a big part of what we talked about on the phone, which I thought was, was great. We both have very similar views on it. Obviously, technology, this is not a new thing. Technology is changing everything. And that's been going on for 20 years, but now we have AI and some other things to deal with. But you also have a general business environment that's changing. And generally what that means in professional services is that you have fee compression, you have increased competition. So smaller independent firms that want to remain independent, it's very, very challenging environment for them. Because right now, what's happening in the accounting industry and the investment management industry is that there are big consolidators backed by private equity that are buying up investment management firms and small accounting firms. And oftentimes this isn't necessarily the first choice of the founder and the people that operate the small independent firms, is not to sell, but the market is changing. So what I've been trying to think about, been trying to understand, and that's part of the book process, is what specifically is changing and how can independent firms change so that they can win the day in this new world? How can they leverage what they have? And when you talk to people who are clients of independent firms, they generally love the experience of having personal relationships of an independent firm.
There you go.
Financial professional that they don't get from a aggregator firm, but those opportunities and those firms are becoming fewer and fewer. And so the question is, well, how can we take what people really want as an independent, somebody that runs an independent firm, and survive but more importantly, thrive in this new environment and win the day against, some of that competition.
So why is the industry consolidating? So what does private equity see in these investment firms and in these accounting firms that, because they don't go into things unless it's going to make money, right? That's their end goal. So what is so attractive to these private equity companies that they're starting to move into the investment and accounting circles? Yeah,
that's a really good question. And they see untapped value in the client relationships that these firms have. So, and that is a big part of the book, is if there's untapped value, which there is, how can independent firms unlock it? And the way that independent firms in both the investment management and accounting firms have been trying to unlock it it hasn't been effective. So let me just give you an example. Among independent firms, one of the ways that independent firms in both industries have been trying to adapt their business model is by entering each other's business. So you'll see an investment management firm start to offer their clients tax preparation.
Okay.
And they may even go try to hire a CPA, but really what they're doing is investment management and accounting are very different disciplines. And if you want it to give the client the depth of service and quality that they need, you need investment and accounting professionals that are focused in that area, that focus on just one discipline.
Okay, yeah.
So the small independent firms, yeah, go ahead.
That makes sense. I was saying that you want them focused on that specific discipline, not trying to cater to all of things.
Yeah, essentially, you're trying to run two very intricate and different businesses, where both firms, both independent firms in accounting and independent firms in investment management are struggling in the new world. And now by trying to combine those, that has not been successful. Firms tried to do that. And then accounting firms are doing the same thing. They're trying to also offer investment management services. And so basically you kind of get a watered down, maybe not ideal package for clients. And so it hasn't been terribly successful. And you have now a small independent business dealing with the challenges of both those businesses. Nothing really changes. So where the aggregators see value, they go and they acquire investment management firms, and they have a investment management practice, and they can afford a bunch of people on overhead, and so they can service the clients, do the compliance, do all these things that need to be done, and put together an investment program. And they have the existing client base from the wealth manager that they bought, and then they tap obviously those wealth management clients for accounting services also, and then vice versa. They go and they buy accounting firms, and they tap that client base for wealth management. So basically, in that model, they may pay an accounting firm 4 or 5x revenues to buy it, which is an attractive valuation for a service business. But the reason is that they think that it's very possible to double the value of the client base by bringing on investment management.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah. So, because you charge $1,500 for a basic tax return, if that person has just $150,000 and they let you manage it, now that's also $1,500 a year. So you can literally double and obviously those numbers grow, that grows with scale, right? So when you have all the business clients that have more complex tax situations and are higher feed from the accounting, it allows them to focus on just getting those clients or really maintaining a client base of those higher value clients and selling them wealth management with much bigger portfolio sizes. So all they're doing is they're trying to solve the problem with scale, and that works. I mean, that's why they're doing it. So from an independent firm's point of view, I think that there's a ton of exciting opportunities, because all it requires is for independent firms to work more closely with each other and provide the services that they provide and that they excel at in a little bit more of a connected and coordinated fashion. And there is tons of opportunity to increase the enterprise value of both businesses, but also, grow those businesses and find new opportunities.
Okay, so question for you. Earlier you said about there was unforeseen value there. There's untapped value. So what is that? What is that untapped value that the independent firm, that apparently the private equity looks at and says, oh, there's untapped value, I'm going to merge these two together. From what I heard was the value is you take someone's client list over here, and now you have ready investment management people, but investment management people also need accounting services, so that's the added value. If you are an accounting firm and or an investment firm, what is that missing value that, and can that independent firm tap into what they can't see?
See, that's a very good question. And I think the way that the industry has, by entering each other's businesses and expanding service offerings within a small independent firm, no, they cannot.
Okay.
So going from the accounting perspective first to the investment management, most people think, and it's a common thought among accountants too, right, is that investment managers make a lot of money, and
Okay.
it's right because
Yeah.
you just think it's because of the fee, the way it's done. It's based on AUM, it's not hours and things like that. So, and there's a lot of advantages, by the way, to that business model. But
Real quick, AUM, assets under management.
assets under management, yep.
Please go ahead.
But the average profit margin for a wealth management firm is about 30%. So
Okay.
The issue that smaller firms have when they try to enter into that's the average profit margin. What they discover is their profit margins become a lot smaller than that because they need to hire a client service person. All of a sudden they're realizing they got to do annual reviews and they got all of these things. And then they have compliance. They're regulated.
Yeah.
So now they got to go hire they either have to bring in a compliance manager or they've got to hire out compliance. It's very expensive. And they need to probably pay somebody, since they're not investment professionals, they have to called hire a TAMP, an outsourced investment management program.
Okay.
Well, they're going to take 50% right there. So
Man.
so by the time this is all done, it's probably a net loss. Actually, the firm has complicated their issues because their service quality has potentially gone down, and they're struggling. You know, they're not going to be able to yield the average profit margin, and so, and then the same thing goes for investment management firms wanting to go into accounting. Well, you have to go find the hardest person to find right now, a CPA.
That's
You
true.
have to find the elusive CPA, and then they have to come in and want to work in your small independent firm that mainly focuses on investment management and do tax work for your clients. And you have to depend that they're not going to leave. If they leave, they're not easily replaceable. And then what do you do with your clients who are expecting their tax returns done?
Oh my goodness, yeah, you're right.
And so now, so it becomes a huge mess for the independent firms, with usually not even minimal gains, but usually something worse outcomes than that, where their business struggles even more.
Yeah, I'm looking at just the investment management side, specifically looking at from the player's perspective and trying to figure out how to help these young men really get a handle of their finances. And then I talk to people like you, and I think there's ways to do it. There's certainly personalities that, you got to have the personality connection. It's a relationship between business people. But a lot of the times I look at these, and when I get these questions that just come out of nowhere. It's like they read a story on Instagram or see a video on TikTok, and all of a sudden I'm getting lit up with all these questions. Like when my wife, she's a pediatric practitioner, she says that anytime there's a news thing that comes out, it's like it's talking about the next latest cold or something like that. She says the phone rings off the hook at the clinic. It's like, I think my kid has this. I think they might. It's like, no, they don't, But same thing happens with this investment management stuff, like the Bitcoins, the stable coins, where am I going to put my money? Should I buy a house? Should I rent? Do all these fundamental questions you would have. But these guys are sitting on some, I would say, higher than average savings accounts, if you can call them savings accounts, and they want to maximize. They want to put their money to work, and then they come ask me questions, and I'm like, guys, I think you're awesome. And yeah, I have the CPA designation behind my name, but please understand, I don't give tax advice because I use TurboTax for my own taxes. But investment advice, like, I am not positioned to give you the best investment advice. I can tell you what I would do in this situation, but that's only from my limited purview of what I know about investments and what I've been in, right, and what my friends have done. You guys might have a completely different risk profile. Might want to be able to, being younger, take a little bit more risks now. So I tell them, like, I'm not going to give you investment advice, but I can connect you to people who can. And then if you want to work out a schedule of payments or a retainer, what have you, however you want this professional relationship to work out, then you have a professional you can actually ask real questions to, and they can come from their wealth of experience to say, yeah, right now I don't think you're right there. Maybe give it a year or two, and then we're gonna pull in this element, gonna pull in this element, and then start building that moat, if you will, right? So that we can defend the castle. So when I have conversations with people like yourself, I'm always interested because I bet you when you go to a party, I bet you people ask you all the time what the like, hey, so what's new on the investment front? What do you got?
Where should I put my money? What should I be investing? Yes, yes.
Do you invoice your friends after parties?
No, but maybe I should.
It's like that doctor that goes like, hey, I got this rash, and all of a sudden the invoice shows up. It's like, what's this for? It's like, I helped you clean up that rash. It's like,
Remember you asked about the rash at the party?
Yeah, exactly. So this book that you have coming out, and by the way, do you have a publication date? Are you still in the manuscript phase? Where are you?
Manuscript phase, yes.
Okay, getting close to getting done. Is it the project that's never done? What is it?
I would say it's 3 months out. That's what I would say.
Oh, good for you. Okay, so late 2026.
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. So Christmas, it's going to be under my tree.
And it's a much smaller bite than like the book that you're doing.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, by the way. So, but no, so your stuff is going to be, it's going to be quick. It's going to be informative. And is it something is it a lead generator for you?
No, I mean, not really. It's just a surface. It's to open up the conversation with other professionals.
Okay.
It's to service the research that we've been doing just on the industry. And
I love this.
So, and that's it. I mean, it's I would say it's a discussion starter. It's not meant to, it's not a piece of marketing material.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. And I didn't mean to diminish it like that.
No. That's fine. Yeah.
So question for you though. So if it's a discussion starter, are you ready for the discussion when it turns on? Because you're going to be the guy that's lighting these fires.
Yeah, I think I've been living in this now. I mean, this is, like I said, these have been creeping problems in the industry for a long time. But I would say, like any problem, it creeps for a long time, then it accelerates. And we're probably in that acceleration phase. We are in that acceleration phase. I mean, you can tell.
So is this, when you say this, so it's been creeping for a while, now it's gotten to a point, and I mean, always have the conversation, like we were talking about academia and corporate finance and all these different elements that are happening. It's a very fluid industry right now, and like even though you're mentioning investment management and accounting are two wholly separate disciplines, they also are inextricably connected, right? Yeah. So the question that we keep coming back to is that when you're coming out there and you're starting to have these conversations with other professionals, like what do you want to come out of these discussions? Like what in your ideal world, let's say this book hits, all of a sudden people are just, oh my gosh, this guy's bringing all this stuff, like he's saying everything, all the quiet parts out loud, right? So now the discussion is out in the forefront. Everybody's talking about it. What would you want to come out of that? Where do you want the investment management group industry to be on the other side of your discussions that you're about to create?
Well, first and foremost, I want anybody who reads the book that's in the industry to realize the value of the value of the services and the expertise and knowledge that they provide to their clients.
I love this. Mm-hmm. And
the solution isn't necessarily to move away from those, it's to dig deeper into them. And so to do that, we need to collaborate. Like I love what you were saying, Tim, about how you talk about, oh, well, I don't give investment. I mean, I can't give tax advice or whatever, or investment advice. And we say that to our clients. Our businesses are inextricably connected. When we're talking about financial planning, financial issues, investments, the taxes that are resulting from their investments, right? We can give them some general guidelines, and then it's followed by, we're not tax professionals. We can't I can't give you tax advice, but these are the questions that you should ask your CPA. Well,
That's fair.
there should be a CPA on the team. And same goes with the other, for accountants. There should be an investment manager, somebody who's focused solely on the markets and investment on the team. And that doesn't necessarily mean merging firms and trying to do what has been done right now, which is not working, right? Enter each other's businesses or become one business. It's to embrace our expertise and then lean on each other and work with each other in mutually beneficial ways to provide client service that they would never be able to get at an aggregation firm.
No, I love how you're describing this. The question is on the execution piece, right? So I'm sure you know a handful of accountants and CPAs that you would love to have by your side. Obviously, you're not going to merge your firms and make them one and the same. But then, so what does this new hybrid look like?
Okay, how does it actually function?
Yeah, go.
So the way that we're looking at it is if we can provide investment management services to CPA's clients, and we're using technology to do this to scale it, and provide the CPA firm the industry average profit margin. Okay. So they're not in the business, and we'll have loose association with each other, but we are working together. So we know the same clients, and then from our clients' perspective, providing them a credit to their investment management services that they can use and apply towards professional services like accounting and the accountants that we're working with. So so when we say go, where I would normally say you need to talk to a tax professional about this, I would say, here's Tim. He's a CPA. And hopefully he's doing, my client's taxes.
Right.
Here's his advice. We're bringing the solution. We're not telling you where you need to go look for the solution and what are the right questions to ask this other professional. And they're getting paid for their time, from our firm that we're
Okay. So it's all coming together. I'm a very visual person. I'm like drawing in my head right now what this looks like. So here's what I'm thinking. You're talking about having like an accounting firm, right? In this accounting firm, it could be two accounting firms, three accounting firms, doesn't matter. It's whoever those relationships are with, right? There's managing directors, managing partners, the equity partners, it doesn't matter. So they have the expertise in the tax world. They have the clients that they're providing tax services to, right? And probably some audit services here and there, but for mostly tax, mostly like planning, wealth management, things like that. So now you have these. What you're saying is that your 3 Summit, if you will, is almost developing an investment layer that goes atop each one of these firms. So if the CPA is in a room with a tax person and they go, man, I see that you have X number of dollars over, and you should probably do something with this. And they go, well, who do I go to do that? So like, interesting you say that. I'm working with 3 Summit Investment Management. I would like you to have a conversation with Dan. And they go, fantastic, credible pass from CPA to Dan. Dan has a conversation. You already know who those managing partners are. You have a personal relationship with them. You guys have gone out drinking. You've gone on each other's birthday parties, whatever. But now they trust giving you a client, one of their clients, because they know that you're going to give them the fiduciary responses that are necessary for them, for their particular makeup, if you will. And so that when they come back and they say, okay, I'm going to take $30,000, $300,000, $3 million and park it over here, tax professional can go, hey, Dan, thanks.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
That's right. And there would be a financial relationship between the two firms. Yes, exactly. So instead of having their own wealth business inside the business, they're getting paid the industry average for whatever assets they bring in to the wealth. Whatever they bring into the wealth side of the firm, which would be
awesome.
Attached to 3 Summit. And then from our side, not only are we sending our clients to them for tax services, but we're also providing credits and other things to our clients to buy additional tax consulting and other things that they need. So the firms would work in a more integrated fashion. And yes, there are relationships behind that, and maybe even a teams group, right? Like we may be communicating with each other, with more efficiently than just over the phone and passing each other. Like right now, the way business works is you pass referrals. CPAs are hesitant to usually refer clients. They almost always get asked by their clients, I'm not happy with my advisor. I need an advisor. Who should I go to? What's in it for them to recommend an advisor? It's just risk, right? If they don't really know how an advisor is doing, how they work, how they invest money. So they'll oftentimes pass on that. And
and then you have another opinion in the mix too. That's like, well, it came from the professional that you said I should go to. So, and they might disagree, right? So it's like, so you're right. It's an added level of risk in the client relationship, not necessarily the financial relationship, but it could be something where you're now having to defend yourself on a topic where before they would just take it hook, line, and sinker. Right?
Yes, that's right. And you have, and if you have, there's good reason why CPAs should be hesitant if they haven't done due diligence on an advisor, and it isn't necessarily in their benefit to make a recommendation. It's really
100%. I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, so, be more informed, because as CPAs, we're normally very good at understanding policy and regulation and what have you. I don't think many of us take the time to get down into the weeds. We kind of leave that up over to academia. Problem is, academia hasn't spent enough time in practice, and they don't understand how these things actually affect the day in and day out lives of people who are actually doing this work, right? So there's a dichotomy there that it's reconcilable. It's just going to take a little while for that to happen. So, but no, I think you're right. I think that there's a vast opportunity here. It's just a matter, and it's not that you're sharing client lists. I think that's kind of a cheap way to say this, but it's actually you're taking a professional house, whether it be an accounting firm first or investment firm first, and you're saying, I have people that need your services. I am not going to provide those services because I'm not the right person to provide those services. So because of that, may I please introduce you to Tom, Dick, Harry, and Sally, and take care of them as if you would take care of your own family.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And then, from my side of the table, multiple times a week, I'm telling people what they need to ask their CPAs, or so we have preferred CPA firms, like where most of our clients, we'll refer most of them to. They do my business taxes and my personal taxes, and and there's so many times where my client needs tax advice, and it would be better. And this is what people want now. When you ask them, surveys show over and over again, they want a central source of information, and so. It would be so much better if I could work directly with a client CPA, and help solve problems for them. And I mean, that's what people say they love about independent firms, is that working with independent firms, they have what they consider to be the most attentive and best schooled professionals in what they do. They have full confidence that when they call who they have a personal relationship with, their advisor or CPA, that CPA or advisor is going to give them fantastic advice on what should be done.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so these bigger aggregating firms are trying to do that on scale, but it doesn't work on scale. It's missing the personal relationship. There's huge employee turnover. So your tax advisor one year is different than your tax advisor the next year, but you don't even talk to your tax advisor because they're a partner. So you're talking to somebody else at the firm, and that person definitely changes, once every couple of years, or, however frequently. And then they don't want to answer questions until they get a engagement letter in front of them. And you're like, I just need an answer.
A quick answer, brother.
Yeah. So
just for other people listening out there that aren't in this position, I think it's important that it's not, what this is not is just passing people back and forth just to run up professional service fees. That's not what we're talking about here. It's that if a client of yours, this is part of the client service part of this. It's like if someone comes to you and says, hey, I have questions, and you look at you actually do a self-assessment very quickly and you say, I am not prepared to answer that question, but I do have resources that can answer that question. Would you like me to make that introduction? And then that way they get it straight from the horse's mouth, and they've made the decision. Yes, this is important to me that I go ahead and have buy an hour worth of somebody's time, 2 hours worth of somebody's time, right? And then but from a client service perspective, it's a more holistic approach as opposed to just saying, gosh, I really don't know. I would chat GPT that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have a single source. So the CPA and in my side, the advisor, for my clients, I'm more of a quarterback. I'm seen as a quarterback by my client who can get any information that they may need for their financial lives and give great advice on whatever question I may ask. And same thing for the CPA, right? That person becomes invaluable to their clients because they also are financial quarterback for their client and can get information regardless of what the question's about. Financial.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think this hybrid methodology is really neat. It's like I see where there's a need for it, especially being on the accounting side. I can tell you, people ask me all the time about investments, and I look at them like, guys, I'm just not comfortable with answering this question because I don't know enough. That's not what I do. But I know a whole bunch of people that know how to do this stuff. Can I make an introduction, right? So no, I appreciate that. So actually, it's kind of interesting you say like these bigger firms who are like taking an accounting firm and they're putting them in an investment firm and they're smashing them together. It almost sounds like, Dan, that if you could come up with a way to actually have a hybrid firm, right? Where there's, and again, you're talking about tax. There's no independence issues here. We're not talking about like assurance services where you're doing an audit and things like that. We're talking about like true. I'm siding up. You put the client in the middle. You got your finance person here. You got your accounting person here. You have maybe an insurance person. You guys now you have all of these things that can help manage this person's personal financial situation. Also, in what you said, many of them are business financial situations, right? Because it's one and the same for many people. Then it almost sounds like if you could figure out how to create that environment, then you're going to take over the industry. Yeah,
I think you nailed it there. That's what it is. That's the conclusion of the book. It's a hybrid model. It's just a different way of looking at coordinating and working with other professionals in the industry. And I think you do win at the end of the day because you can just look at client retention. Like, our client retention rate is over 90%.
That's impressive.
And every CPA that I work with has very similar numbers, right? Independent firms, right? They're very attached when they find value in their relationships with their CPAs, and these are particularly business people who have a lot of tax needs and a lot of consulting needs. They are devoted to their CPA. And we have the similar type devotion from our clients and how they trust us to navigate them through the markets and give them good financial advice. So if you combine those two, that's what I'm saying. You're building a team of the best. A hybrid model, I think, wins every time over somebody that goes to an aggregated firm. And you can just the client churn rate at those firms is huge. Like half of the efforts in those firms is actually just new client acquisition, which is one of the reasons why they're acquiring more firms.
Goodness. It's so expensive. It's so expensive to get new clients.
It's very expensive to get new clients. And what's cheaper is to keep your clients.
To make them happy. Okay. And then, what a revelation.
Exactly. And if you can find other ways to provide them invaluable service, then you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, so I think if I were to sum up the entire last hour of what we discussed, it really comes down to what's best for the client, And if you have the client sitting in front of you, if they need your services that you can perform on, fantastic. If they need services that are outside of your scope, you have a trusted network that you can refer them to, so that they can get their answers straight from the professional. It really comes down to the holistic approach to satisfying that customer's needs. And it sounds like, I mean, sounds like you got a pretty good idea. I'm going to make an introduction for you after on the other side of this podcast, because I think I know the perfect firm that can help you with this. They're based out of California, and we'll get you on. In fact, I've had this gentleman on this show. So very, very excited to see where you take 3 Summit, if there's going to be a 4th or 5th summit that you add to it. Thank you very much, Dan, for coming on Business Biceps BS. If I wanted to contact you and take part in your services, purchase your services, how do I find you?
You can find 3 Summit, the number 3 summit.com is the best place to find me. My contact information is there. And I just want to thank you, Tim. This was a great conversation, just like our phone call. I can banter with you for hours.
Well, the next time I want to see that electric guitar. I want to see it playing with your teeth, man. Yeah. No, I really appreciate you, Dan. I'm sure we're going to have many conversations in the future. If there's anything that I can do for you, anything that the Georgia Society of CPAs can do for you, we are here. We're in the South. We got sweet tea. We got pecan pie. So yeah, but would love to host you anytime you come over to this side of the earth. But until then, I want you to stay warm, and we'll be talking, brother.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks.
Thank you very much.